After England defeated the French at the Battle of Bremule, Normandy was back in King Henry's hands. But 1 year later, his good fortune turned to tragedy. In 1120, his son and heir William Adelin died in a shipwreck. The future of Henry I's kingdom was in jeopardy. Henry desperately needed a new heir. With no legitimate sons left alive, he broke with tradition and chose his daughter, Matilda. Henry forced his barons to swear an oath to accept Matilda as queen. But when the king died, they broke their promise. England would not be ruled by a woman. Matilda's cousin Stephen saw his chance and claimed the throne. The crisis moved to the capital. At Westminster Abbey, Stephen was crowned king. But Matilda wanted what was hers. She was also lining up powerful supporters who would fight Stephen for her right to rule. Their conflict engulfed England in civil war. Fighting raged throughout the land. In 1141, everything focused on one of the kingdom's most strategic cities, Lincoln. Matilda's allies had commandeered the castle. But King Stephen was determined to take it back. He besieged the castle. Stalemate. As dawn broke on February the 2nd, everything was about to change. Matilda's half-brother, Robert of Gloucester, raced to break the siege. As Robert's forces approached Lincoln, Stephen's army turned away from the castle to face them. Robert could win Matilda the crown, but only if his army could win the day. Robert of Gloucester's forces approached Lincoln. Their task, to liberate the castle from King Stephen's siege. While behind Lincoln's walls, troops loyal to Matilda held the castle for the Empress. First, Robert's forces would stage an ambush to prevent enemy reinforcements from joining with King Stephen's army.
Get scouter ready to go and
Robert's men concealed themselves in a sheltered grove and lay in wait for the enemy.
Each sail the boat!
Robert defeated the first column of Stephen's reinforcements, but he knew more were on the way.
Ik ga doen dat. We geven bij Hestes. have abandoned the foe!
What be a thing send them to me no wakers?
With more of Stephen's reinforcements eliminated, Robert was steadily undermining the siege.
Send them to me no wakers. It's so Alianda. Essa shouldn't be.
Cosa folwende di hesta. Het will the beodon.
What be a thing, Heston?
Robert's men decimated King Stephen's reinforcements and were poised to break the siege. Continuing the push towards Lincoln, Robert sent in a large company of reinforcements to aid his vanguard. To further weaken the siege, Robert would need to cut off Stephen's supplies. He targeted the nearby market town.
Puste tulkas, hestas. Al Suiza, yes. Nutha, comathon. Glidande ne hurt us no one near Adal. Tit win. Hold the hand with us! Hold! Sewer things.
Scouters, het will beodon. Vendors, insanity!
Matilda's cause, a large group of knights arrived at Lincoln to bolster Robert's army. With the market town in ruins, King Stephen's supplies began to dwindle. Robert received word that Welsh troops under Matilda's banner were en route to join forces with him. But King Stephen had the roads to Lincoln heavily guarded, and the route was not without risk, even for the hardy Welshmen.
Look, you'll be ready, Frank. It's limit to hear it. But mean a word. Fair.
Making their way to Lincoln, Matilda's Welsh allies were ambushed by the king's soldiers. Robert's men would need to aid the Welsh if they wanted their help in breaking the siege. Joining forces on the road to Lincoln, Matilda's allied troops made for the castle to lift the siege.
We shall lay the yard. For what that records, with wilderness. But me no word, sir, we shall lay the yard. But read it new to us. We shall lay the yard. Read it new to us.
Duty is none more dead.
Adente to serve. At me no word, fell. For what that records, with wilderness.
Robert's forces spotted a large detachment of Stephen's soldiers guarding the castle gates. If they hoped to liberate Lincoln, they would need to break the blockade and rout the army.
An ar unitas stand in the yard. All is with you.
Where shouldn't we go and me duty?
An are to hear it. Alle sweet.
What kind of arm travail to dawn, caravanes?
Here is Hestus.
What? Every Chanyara.
Hestus and unborn. Asteriath. Rathe arway men.
Men of arms, it jubilanus.
Thine hest dute is none burden. Each libe to hear it. Certes.
Scoutess?
Do enemy duty.
Follow the hesta. Ridende suahet. I'll do that. Ridende suahet. Scoutess, read it uta.
Nu to let me no word. Fereth.
Yarwesh de Canadu. Voliente Hestus. Yes.
It is seek the whole with wilderness.
Bandits! He sent
Lincoln's forces scattered the king's army, leaving the gates to the castle unguarded.
Ut readeth nu, Tullis. He shall lay the yard.
Robert's men finally united with Lincoln's garrison. They could now use the castle to strengthen their army. To lift the siege, they needed to destroy the enemy camps surrounding the castle.
But mean a word.
Hey, John, intended.
See to work, eh?
Presset jou arveman. Jeffet sterende of. Jeffet habe qua of surfet shatten. Jarwe shatten. Arve men. Bo ik kan verende nu. Jar ik kan verende nu. Bo is sterende of sua is said. Quar of surfet shatten. Jeffe mea bot. Hiereth hestes. Beoth sleepily on the stirreth.
It's in Shesendeus!
Hartes Berryman.
Yeah, and sweet the Jeffe me. Foliente hestes. Dresset jou arveman. Sua de heta.
What needeth be undone?
What needeth be undone? You can have that he building and on.
See to work, eh? What needeth be undone?
Spring engine on the way! Understood! See they to berende so ahead. Fresh air and harder sweet.
Two kids, steer away, Allah.
Yeah, right.
Jonas, Jari to done. Travail to done, men of honor.
Grites, in the attack! Grites, stand in the yard!
What will come?
Hästen kommer armen så det är.
See they to work.
What needeth be undone? Arita, what needeth worker? Ikil habi the what needeth be undone? Build end that.
What needeth be undone? You can build it that for them.
Yare to done some worker. Ikil Arita, what needeth worker? See they to worker. Build end that to new. What needeth be
Marcus Yara, Bukesh,
Stand in the yard! It's live to hear it.
Men av armes och kräftet på stora.
See they to worker. Ikil habi that he been Arita. What needeth worker? Ik Yare to done some worker. Hit locked as God.
What needed working? That building will be reparailed enough.
The Grites, for honor, Mr. Apple Grites. Forwarded and berended, Grites! Alex Winter! Tuesday to center! And Grites, and then... Obeisance is Ane Akru.
Arita, what needeth working? Reaper railings are an ongoing.
Knitas, keep that good fettle, Knitas.
Rita.
Hearkeneth all.
If you'll go on.
What needeth be undone? If you'll have.
What needeth be undone? Till then,
What needeth be undone?
down the job and see things to work.
Ich bin gut und ihr.
What needeth be undone? Grandeth in haste. Till then, they
See fate to work. Hearkeneth aller.
hearkeneth all.
Dein Halle, und Friede, thou hast uns Todens. Alles mit. Und Friede, Kulgas. Und bisschen, was diese Kleine ist, ja,
Travail to do.
ich will ändern. Doch nicht jetzt standen wir. So, Sweden, Dein Hestes. Grites, it's live to hear. Jute is none but dead. Let us read it! An army that sweat! Jute is none but dead! Yeah, we can gun it! Alla knittes, ja! An are to here! Och knittes, stand den där! For honor, Mr. Arthur Gritas. For honor, Gritas! Even the too much onwards! I'll make it gas, what? Gritas, stand in the yard! Dein Herr Sultan! Full of Schwitte! Arthur Gritas, good battle, Gritas, stand in the yard! Gritas, thou awful cookers! Let us read it, Gritas.
Jonas, ja, what will now?
Jana, min friend.
Every chance out of honor.
Beyond this hours! Avoid it! It's a bomb in us! Let us read it, please.
Need them take a seat. Men av armens sekreter på stor.
Matilda's forces struck hard, destroying one of King Stephen's siege camps.
Gritas! In an shall lay the yard.
Men of armies up, ferret to ende. Men of armies. Here we go.
Benitez, stand at his best good back.
Martin Jana, it is
Your next armies. Hold the hell with us!
King Stephen's army dwindled as Matilda's forces struck down another siege camp.
Send them out to me no work, yes.
It is Caesar for actors. Und readeth no, Julga. Benitez, in the sun.
Every Janiara.
An Redende Suaket. Thy Arthur Canitas Yara. Ut readeth, thou Arthur Tulkis.
Men of armies up the death. Travail to those men of armies.
Nu, Julg forth warde frankers. Mit Baldenes.
the frere.
He shall lay the yard. Yet to thir readeth no, Tulkis. It is Caesar for actors, but me no word. Look, you'll be ready, Freckis.
Come,
It's living.
what wilt thou? Hearken at Verhasters! Any other gathering compulsion?
The king's army was scattered, and those who didn't fall fled. King Stephen was spotted, shielded by his men. To end the siege, Matilda's forces needed to capture Stephen and rout his army.
Cease moving these said bitches.
Canitas, in the sun. Nu, Tulkis, is shut. Alla Canitas Yard.
Estes comet ar period.
Apple Canitas, United, number 9. Let us read. This is what they have with
Matilda's men closed in and finally captured King Stephen. Matilda's forces had won the battle at Lincoln. But the fight for the crown was not over yet. A counterweight trebuchet was the king of all siege engines. A catapult capable of smashing down castle walls from great distances. At Warwick Castle in England, they've built a replica, one of the largest in the world. Originating in 7th century China, by the 13th century, trebuchets had evolved into devastatingly powerful weapons.
Such a simple design, but so effective.
It has several key features. A pivoted arm with a weight at one end, and a sling to hold the projectile at the other. To prime, the 6-ton weight is raised using tread wheels.
So this is one of the wheels, one of two that's attached to an axle, which would lift the counterweight, weighing 6 tons. It's based on muscle power alone. What's essential about launching a projectile as far as possible is making sure that this end of the arm is moving as fast as possible. So once that weight drops, it really sends this point of the arm moving at its highest velocity.
This was done by positioning the pivot close to the counterweight and by launching the projectile from a sling. When released, the sling whips round, vastly increasing the launch speed. Trebuchets were carefully aimed, like modern guns.
In order to weaken the castle walls or even breach them, you had to make sure that the projectiles hit the same spot every single time.
For each projectile to follow the same trajectory, they all had to be the same weight and shape. To achieve this, masons used a gauge.
Now I'm going to load this projectile into the sling. This one must weigh about 25 kilograms, but some projectiles can get up to 150 kilograms. That's the weight of 2 men.
Trebuchets were also used to throw burning tar, beehives, even dead bodies. Anything to cause maximum distress to the enemy.
Did you hear that whoosh?
It was the counterweight trebuchet's lethal combination of power and accuracy that made it the ultimate medieval siege weapon.